Welcome back to the B4evaKool podcast. My name is Rex45.
My name is TJ with two L's and coffee.
Man, what's going on, man?
Hey man, we had a great weekend. It's exactly what I expected, and plus more for sure.
Plus more. I don't even know where to begin because, I mean, I
I
think,
don't.
go ahead.
No, I was saying I don't either. I'm
Yeah.
just agreeing with you.
Yeah. I think from I don't, MotoGP is not calling me and talking numbers with me, but I think from a viewership and interest and stuff like that, I think it was a huge success the weekend overall. So, which is pretty dope. I'm excited about that part of it because motorcycle racing in general is building back up. So I think from that perspective, I think it was pretty good. And then just the race itself, I mean, I think every class was exciting, right? I mean, you can talk about qualifying and stuff like that. We can talk about the practice sessions, the rain. I mean, it rained. Like, who would have
It
thought it
did.
would? Not to say it doesn't rain in the desert, but it does. But who would have thought? And stuff like that. And we saw a couple of Moto Two. We saw not everyone came out and rode when it was raining out, but that was so it was like the buildup was already crazy before the sprint race started on Saturday.
I know, and like the rain, it's like that gets in the way because the race is going to be dry. I mean, the only thing you can use the rain for is data,
Right.
and you don't want to risk anything because it's week one, and um, you know, it's just like a waste. Not a waste, but it's just like who would have thought that the rain would just jump in there.
Right. I think for the guys that have the data, they didn't want to go out there and didn't get the feel of the dry and didn't want to go out there and do that. But I think for new rookie riders who or inexperienced rain riders, I think you saw those guys went out and was doing laps, right? Because it's good practice. But the you know the but it, it, I think for the people that didn't go out in the rain, it 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 showed in Moto 2. You know what I'm saying? Because it was Moto 2, there was a lot of riders that didn't go out in the rain, right?
Yeah,
And it showed because a lot of the top riders, I was talking about number 54, who's everybody was talking about Ferme, and yeah, right.
not good luck on his first weekend for sure.
Yeah, not a good look. So let's start from the bottom and work our way up, as they say somewhere in the world.
I
You
mean, the
know,
Moto 3 race is so entertaining. I mean, that's it started off really good with those riders for sure.
it started really good. I feel bad for Elgato, right? I feel bad for
Yeah,
him because he led that race. He led. I mean, he did the most laps, and when he lost position in the last two laps.
well, that was tough, man. That's I mean, you don't even see it coming. Like you're just pushing, you're just looking for the finish line. You're just thinking to yourself, all right, hold it together for a few more corners.
Right,
And there's always that person behind you that can pull a Mark Marquez or someone and dive under you and
right.
steal that position. And the bikes are pretty much the same speed. So like once you're in front on the straightaway, like you ain't gonna drive past them until the end. So
Right. And it's crazy because the I didn't realize this, but on the Moto 3 bikes they couldn't do any productions on those bikes since the pandemic. So they've been riding the same bikes for the last
wow,
three
I didn't
years,
know that.
and it's only 2024 that KTM was able to that restriction was lifted. Which is ridiculous, right? Because it wasn't there for Moto 2 or Moto 3 to my knowledge, and it was lifted. And KTM have all new bikes, and Hondas are kind of doing Frankenstein, putting bits and pieces on to kind of make their bikes go quick. But the Hondas ran well. Uh, all pretty much new faces. There's 7 rookies that came into Moto 3. I believe 6 of them race. One of them is still not old enough to race. So they're not going to race until they turn 18. I think so. In Austin, I think probably is when they're going to come and race. So a lot of new riders in Moto 3. That that train was a long train. I mean, it was what 10 riders that could have won that race.
Yeah, I mean, especially like when you finish, like they were all within. I mean, top six were within a 1 second, half a second.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, Number six, Napa, finished 0.416 behind the leader.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. That's crazy, right?
so yeah, that train was that was a big train, and it was up for grabs for anyone pretty much.
Yeah, a
What
lot of
an exciting race for sure.
yeah, a lot of not crazy high sides, but there was some. I mean, it was a proper tussle, I have to say, and pretty amazing though to see. We saw what the MotoGP riders pick as far as the winner, um, and you know I didn't see it. I didn't, I really thought Elgato was going to win it the way he was running the whole time, and Alonso was further back. So you know what I mean. It was just kind of like wow.
Man, I want to know what was going through his head. Like, yeah, I mean, like 4 corners away, 5 corners away, he was in like third or fourth place,
Yeah.
and I guess he just dived into the corner, the last corner, just way before everyone, and just just you gotta protect your line at the same time. So first, Bogado, maybe just a little mistake at the end of the corner, thinking that he had enough time
Right.
to push, but.
Yeah.
There was also other instances in that race, like you're saying, a couple high sides, like, they were pushing so much, and, that rumble strip caught a couple people on
Yeah.
those turns,
Yeah.
and threw them out of the seat, and, you know, like a bowling ball, just caught a couple of the riders with them as well, so
Right.
a
Right.
couple were unlucky.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, the favorite, he crashed out. I, I will mess up his name. I will learn it. I think it's Rube or Rude or I think he's on Akiowa, KTM, and he was one of the guys that crashed out, and Minos. I believe I think he crashed out, right, as well. He had to
It
start
was
from
6
pit.
riders who crashed out.
I think was it Munoz that had to start. Somebody had to start from pit lane, right?
Oh, that was wild.
Yeah, yeah,
That
dude.
was wild, like, I remember that, so, like, um, um I would have to go back. I'm trying to figure out his name, but
Yeah,
yeah, that instance was wild. We should talk about that,
yeah.
like, because that also happened in another race too.
Well, it
So,
happened. It
uh,
happened in the MotoGP race as well, with
yeah,
Fernandez and get off the racetrack, dude. He's like,
you
I ain't
know,
getting off. I ain't getting off. And
I mean, it
go
has
ahead.
to be clear, like no one wants to wait and let their tires cool off. And
No,
if they tell you to get off, man, you got to get off.
yeah, that's Raul.
And
That's Raul's fault. He should have got. He should have. But we'll get to MotoGP towards the end. But no, so it definitely was a wild and crazy Moto 3 race, and full of excitement. And I can't believe there's going to be 40. Well, in MotoGP, there's going to be 40 more races. In Moto 2 and Moto 3, is going to be 20 more races. But the Moto 3 race definitely was a good opening act. For what was to come on Sunday and stuff. So we'll talk about Moto 2 and go into that, and then we'll talk about the sprint and MotoGP, and we'll wrap it up towards that. But
I think, no, sorry to cut you off. I think it was the Esteban,
Esteban.
um, the one who had the start issue.
Yeah, right, right,
Where
right.
he pulled the Mark Marquez and tried to swing backwards back into his position.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He literally pushed start the bike, started it, turned around, and I'm like, that's not gonna fly. That's not
Yeah,
gonna fly.
yeah, it didn't fly for Mark Marquez a few years ago, so.
No, it did not. Um, yeah, man, that was pretty crazy. I don't know if you want to add anything to the Moto 3 race.
Oh, no, it was just what an exciting start, so, I mean, even the next race, now we got a couple of riders to look forward to because we can see what they can do in this first long race,
Right,
so,
right. Yeah,
like,
definitely.
especially Alonso. So
Yeah, definitely Alonso. Still Elgato. These guys it seems to be out front. For Russo, for Rusato as well, Japanese guy there that won, and he was up front. Anyone could have won that race, and it is. It came down to the last couple of laps. It was one of those races that, like I said, there was so many riders up front that you couldn't really take your eye off that Moto 3 race, which was really good to see. You know what I'm saying? Because some races where somebody Lorenzo's out and he's just running, and no one can catch him. It's great for the person out front, but from a viewership, you want to see the battle, you want to see all that, and it was like a lot of clean riding, and it was good to see in Moto 3.
yeah, for sure. I mean, they're not like the highlight of the day, but to see so many riders in a tight battle, I mean, it's a good race overall, and what an exciting finish for sure.
Right, right. And yeah, so let's get into Moto 2, man, and talk about even, Aaron Canet, man. Gee,
Yeah, my guy that I always talk about, Eric
man.
Canet.
um,
That's all I can do is just sigh. I mean, like
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what it is, man. Like he's putting it out in the practice and the qualifying and stuff like that. And
right.
when it comes to race time, I just don't get it.
That's something I don't understand. I believe they are also on Pirelli for the first time this season as well. And I think that a lot of the Alonso, not it's Albolino, a lot of those riders that fell back, that we thought would have been up front in Moto 2. Furman, I think they all ran into that issue with the tires. Um and we saw it really for Connect because I mean he fell back to eighth place and he fought his way back up front. I mean, I think I don't know if I went to get something out of the fridge or I had a phone. I don't know what happened when I came back and I'm like, where's he at? You know what I'm saying? And that so I you know I mean he's in Moto 2. He's one of the best riders in the world. When I say I feel bad, he can't feel bad for himself because he's one of the top riders in the world. But you know what I'm saying? I think he has like 15 second places or something like that.
Yeah, is one that's always getting the second place, and is the one that's always getting pole, and it is. I don't know. It just fades back. I don't know if this is an endurance issue. Like
Yeah, and this time I think it's a tire issue. I don't. I think that's all it is. I don't think it's anything more than that. I think these riders will figure it out. But it just for him. I mean, Furman Aldeguer too, because they know those guys were down in the points. Albolino, guys that probably should have been running up front. Celestino, Viete, these guys should have been running up front, and these are the names that we were talking about before the week the race series started, or the season started, and so those guys. I just think it's just adapting to the tire where Lopez figured it out, man. He was running. I think
oh,
you know what I'm saying. So figuring it out, and good for him, right? Because and Barry Baltas, right? Like out of nowhere, right?
mhm.
This dude,
It was a tight finish.
yeah, tight.
But
I mean,
I
listen,
out of nowhere though.
I, listen. He was. I think every corner he thought he had an opportunity to pass because it seemed like every corner he was trying to pass dude.
But I mean that's hard too, because when you try to do that, it kind of slows you down. But like he was on it.
Yeah, no,
You know.
he was that bike. He was moving that bike around. It was awesome to see. It was awesome to see that, and I'm sure that Lopez is looking at the video now and like wow, like if Lopez made a mistake, like Baltas would have been there, and good for him. And this is a kid that afterwards we found out that his mom is in the hospital, and he's going through it, right? So for him, I don't know what the mindset is, but he definitely laid it all on the line. and rode. We didn't. No one was saying his name. At the beginning of the season, and to see him do that, and Garcia as well, right? I mean, which Sergio Garcia, right? Which he struggled the first year in Moto2, so for him to be on the podium as well, and ride the way he did and stuff like that. Ayaguru, I'm happy to see him, also running well and stuff like that. Samkat Kantra as well. These guys, but yeah, like the names that we already mentioned. I mean, I feel bad for Jake Dixon. What I'm
Right.
saying,
But
like that.
yeah, I feel Joe Roberts finished pretty well. He finished seventh, and like you're saying, Igor with his injuries the year before, and then how he finished last year. I mean, yeah, he's another one that should be one running up front, and him finishing fourth is pretty good for his first race, and
On a new
like you
team,
said,
on a new team as well, right?
yeah, on the team.
That's pretty big. I think, yeah, as you mentioned, Joe Roberts, he finished behind Ramirez, which I'm pretty sure he's not happy with, but I think is one of his better starts in a while. You know what I mean? I mean, I think he's won a couple of races now in Moto2, but one of his better finishes, and it's good to see him in the top 10 again. And hopefully that will continue. Just American racing team in general. I hope to see them continue. It seems like the both riders right now. If I mean, Joe Roberts has won at Qatar, if memory serves correctly. So it's a track he can go fast at. I'm happy for the team and them and the way they rode for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I know Alders's. I know he wasn't in the mix this race really. I think he had a penalty as well, but I know he'll step it up because, like you said, he's ready for MotoGP and I'm ready to see it. I mean, he finished 16th, but he didn't get no points, which is not good. But I don't think it's a fluke. Like I said, he had a penalty. I think he had a long lap penalty, but it like I know next race he'll perform much better. Because like when you make that mistake,
Uh huh.
um, you always go into the next weekend like, how can I correct myself,
Right. Right.
so I don't make that mistake again? How can I perform better? Because you don't want to keep performing bad. And not to say that he performed terrible, but that's he's not
It,
used to finishing back there.
No, I think he won the last four races of the last year, so I
Yeah,
think that to finish 16th,
Qatar
um,
was one of them.
I think that's not to say it is unacceptable. I have to say because if I finished like he finished and I came in and did what I did like I mean maybe it's the bike. He's on the same bike as last year, and Lopez won. His teammate won, so therefore the bike is capable. And I don't know, maybe I don't know who knows what it is. We saw it when he first came in with Pedro as well, right? But he did ride well when he first came out with Pedro, and had some bad incidents, and then kind of fell off until the end of last season when he started winning those races again. So, for some people, the limelight is very hard to manage and so forth. I mean, the kid is talented. I mean, I think he's already got a contract for Pramex, so I don't know if he's phoning it home. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's a similar person. He if Pedro is LeBron James, he could be Carmelo Anthony. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean, type of thing. So it's not to say he doesn't have the same skill set. And I was rooting. To me, like, and I've already said it on the show, he was a better rider than Pedro because Pedro came into Moto3 when he came into Moto2, and he won the European Moto2 title. And so I don't know if there was just a struggle between the inline four and the triple, who knows, or whatever the case may be. But what we saw and in the last year is what I believed he could have done, from the time he got into Moto2, but that didn't happen. And so, to finish 16th, I hope it's just a tire thing, and it's just that, and all this, because he's a talented rider, and
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of talented folks, get distracted with the limelight, and you know what I mean, and not perform like they really can.
Yeah. Not only that, he did finish what 25 seconds after first place. So
Mm-hmm.
that is not a good strategy going into this race. Like didn't perform that well for sure. Now thinking about it.
Right.
Because like especially when someone has a penalty, they'll have a strategy of when to take it. Well, you can only take it a certain couple
Right.
laps in, but how to stay with the pack, and somehow he fell back too far.
Yeah, I mean that's the unfortunate side. But I think Lopez was doing well, and he struggled um, when Aldeguer came to the team. So who knows? When he was interviewed, he does believe he can win the championship. That's what he's saying. So, Lopez is saying, he's here to win, and it makes sense because if at the end of last season, if that's my teammate winning four races in a row, and I got an off season, that's a lot of motivation for me to get my act together, right? So I could see what I could see the motivation there for Lopez. So it's going to be interesting what the next 2 weeks is like at Portimao.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to see. Hopefully Alder's up there, Lopez, and I want to see Aaron Canet. But another rider, you said that are new to Moto 2, Dennis Anchu finished 15th, which
Right.
is,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess pretty good for him. And, um, for his first race, he got a point.
Exactly.
And as long as you keep getting points every round. That's a good milestone for themselves.
Right, exactly. As a rookie too, right? And
Yeah.
you look at Dennis Foggia in his second year. You look at Garcia. You look at Ethan Gavora. You know what I'm saying? These riders in their second years and a year and stuff like that. And so there's a little bit of a learning curve. I mean, even Pedro in his first year struggled a bit and didn't really find his footing until year two, where he won the championship. So I think the rookies need a year and a half to get under their belt. I know it's a very different series than it was once upon a time. I don't think the Zarcos and these guys that been in Moto 3 for 8-9 years and stuff like that. I don't know if that's going to continue because. There's so many young riders coming up, like we've talked about before. You got in seven riders in Moto 3, and you got I think maybe 3-4 riders that came up in Moto 2, and you only got one rider that came up in MotoGP. So those numbers don't work, and I think at the end of this season, we'll see what MotoGP season will at the end of the year. But at the moment, every rider in MotoGP should be there next year. I mean, you know, I could go on the fence and call out maybe Taka Nakagami might be the only person that I might say, that type might be, because he's been in MotoGP for a while and he's yet to be on the podium and stuff like that. So outside of him, I think every other rider probably deserve another year in MotoGP easily.
Yeah, but, we can talk about the next track we're going to, the one you don't like.
Yeah, and I don't like it. But let's get into
It's gonna be a good challenge
yeah.
for
But let's get
for
into MotoGP and the sprint race, and then and we'll talk about the race, and then we definitely can get into the next round. Uh, the sprint was ridiculous in a good way because the qualifying was. I mean, I don't know what your thought was, at when you looked at the times and stuff like that. But I thought it would have been a little bit different in the grid positions and stuff like that based on the practice sessions.
I mean, it's hard to tell, like it's his first race, but the riders that were up on the what on like this top 10 is kind of what I expected, except for a few.
Right, right. So, and as far as the grid position or the finish?
Oh, you was talking about the finish?
No, I was talking about the grid position. Like,
Yeah, like the start. Yeah, so like what who had pole Martin.
Martin had pole.
But yeah, I mean like the Marquez was up there, Pecco. I mean like the riders that we want to see.
Bastianini.
Yep, Bastianini. Even though, I mean, the race results were different, but as
Right,
far as the times getting up there, I mean, they were impressive. Martin always, pole king.
right, right, right. The KTM's.
They're doing really well.
Right. Yeah. 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 I thought I would have seen a little bit more fighting in the sprint. I mean, it was pretty impressive for Martin with the whole shot and to stay out front like that. Brad Bender tried to run with him, and couldn't, and crazy for Elish, right? Elish to come in there and get on the podium as well. The Ducatis, the Gian Antonio, his crash, kind of crazy. I didn't really get to see a replay to see, if he got tangled up with the bike, but I didn't, the way he hobbled off the track, I wondered if he would have had if he would have raced on Sunday or not. I will say, disappointed with Morbidelli's finish and stuff like that, even though he doesn't have the same seat time everyone else does. You know.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with all above. Like you said, Martin got the whole shot and did what he had to do. As far as the KTM's, like I had a feeling Brad Binder was going to be up there, but he's also a great sprint racer too, and
Right.
a GP racer. But when you look at his teammate Jack Miller, this is another one like this, like Aaron Canet in my eyes. Like it just fade back and just I don't know what it is, and
Yeah.
I
I
just
don't.
see Brad Binder still holding it down for KTM and
Well,
doing really
Brad
well.
Bender, Pedro Acosta,
Oh,
right?
and like I said, mentioned, I want to apologize for not bashing Pedro, but I was just didn't. I just wanted someone else to have a seat and not get pushed out of GP.
Right.
Um, for him coming up from Moto 2 to MotoGP. But man, that kid, he's riding,
Yeah.
and he had a really good weekend, and probably surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
So he did really well on that gas. Mark Marquez did what he had to do, stayed up on the bike, and for some
For,
reason those Hondas are not looking too well still.
no, Honda's not looking that well. Um, Yamaha not looking well, and Aprilia for the most part not looking as well either. Right. I mean, even though Aleix got second place on Saturday, Sunday was a different story, and I think when we at the beginning of this before the season started, we knew the Ducati was going to be up there. 6 out of 8, top 8 of Ducati, crazy,
Yep.
crazy numbers. Uh, um, and I think everybody was up there that we thought would be up there. I think Bezecchi was the only outlier. He for some reason he's struggling to get the feel, kind of like how Pecco did last year of that 23 bike, and then Morbidelli. I really hope that Morbidelli, you know, I hope by the time he gets to Austin, he's like top 12. You know what I mean? I really do, because it's really hard. It will be really hard to justify him keeping a seat, keeping his seat with Pramac. I mean, he could be somewhere else. I'm pretty sure Rossi will take care of him. But I think it'll be pretty hard if he doesn't start to do well on the Pramac. And I mean, I don't know, maybe 6 rounds he might have to start proving himself.
I'm sure these guys ride these tracks all the time because they be in GP or they do most of the same tracks and um, I know there's probably some tracks. they're not as good at. So I wanted to
Right.
see what like his results are for this next upcoming race because like he needs a obviously he takes every practice serious, but he needs, like you said, a little more seat time to catch up. And I just hope that he can get it all the time he can get because I do want to see Morbidelli finish higher than what he. I mean, he looks like he's like last season,
Right.
um,
Right. Right.
in the back of the pack, and he's on a new team.
Right. Because
The new bike,
Yoan's on a new bike. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying, and he finished higher.
exactly.
Rins is on a new bike and finished higher. You know what I'm saying. So and those guys are on lesser bikes than compared to the Duck. So he's on a very good bike, and Mark Marquez just got on the Duck, and you see what he's seeing.
You know,
And Morbidelli's healthy, so I mean, I granted he did crash, and was out and missed a lot of that. So there is a little bit of rust. So you know what I'm saying, which is the downside of that. But I do hope he turns around. Um, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
20th place and 18th place. 20th in the sprint, 18th in the
Right.
GP.
Yeah.
You know,
So um and yeah, and the Hondas, I mean, the Hondas are they are, but Hondas finished, I mean, Zarco finished well on Sunday, and so that's good to see. I think they still got some ways to go. I don't see Honda or Yamaha. I think for those guys, you know I
but it shows you like Mark knew what he was talking about.
right, yeah,
He had to get out right away.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
like if he was on a Honda this year, I mean, where he would finish?
Maybe eighth, yeah.
But
Because
he would
if
have been
if
pushing so
Zarco, if you
hard.
look where Zarco finished,
Right.
maybe give Mark, maybe 3 or 4 more positions above Zarco on Sunday, give or take. You know what I'm saying? And he would have figured it out a way, but he doesn't have to ride as hard. Mark Marquez doesn't have to ride as hard on a Ducati. He's not riding a Ducati like he should be yet, and he finished fourth and fifth.
Yeah, and it's scary because like he finished fourth and fifth, and like you said, he's not riding that hard. He's still figuring it out, and that's what Morbidelli needs to kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
do during race time, like figure it out and just push. If you have to lose it, I mean that's the only way, I guess.
Right.
And
Right. No, I completely agree. And
and
so
then
yeah, so I on Sunday in the race when Pedro Marquez was going back and forth,
that was
and
beautiful.
and Pedro was up there, and I'm just like, he's not gonna go. He's not gonna get further. He's just not gonna get further, right? And then to see the tire drop and stuff, and it's kind of like, he has something to learn,
Oh, for
and
sure.
and
But he
I
figured that out, right?
well, he's gonna figure that out soon, and
Well, he did figure it out because he went through those tires and he couldn't keep that pace.
right. So he had to drop
And
back. So he finished with. That's what I'm
he had
saying.
to
He
drop
finished
back.
where he finished, but he has to
Yeah,
figure out a way to be up front and stay up front,
right.
right? And I think like Pecco managed the race perfectly, right? And
Made no mistakes.
made no mistakes. He got out front and he managed the gap. He didn't race with other people. He just managed the gap because he knew that if they had to pass him, they're gonna wear their tire out. And he just managed that gap. And Brad couldn't get any more because he also understood what it was, and that was just, which is the downside, right? Because it's about the tire. And like that race was about the tires essentially. Who can manage a tire better, best, won that race, and that's the downside. But also, to be smart, and it made me think. I think what Pecco's doing and maybe Ducati's doing, and you see it over the weekend when you see him down in 21st and 20th place and stuff like that. I think he's just figuring out the pace of the race,
Right.
and it's just a math. It's just math. It's just kind of like, okay, if I do these times, I can manage this, and I can do these times, and if I'm out front, I can do it, and because then in the race, that's what he's doing, and he did it to perfection, and and there was nothing that Martin, even though Martin had more tire, there's nothing he could do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Pecco also has more of a ritual, um, where he knows like, all right, first practice and just go out and feel it, feel the pace. Unfortunately now practice is second, so you
Yeah.
got to really put it down. But we saw it last year where he would get stuck into P1 because it's probably messing up his ritual. You know, like playing sports when you get out there, like you try to do the same thing to
Right.
when the whistle blows or the jump ball starts, like you're ready.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, it's the same thing with racing. So I think he has a little ritual where he starts off slow, try to feel the pace, and then he turns it up at the end. And like he did it with perfection.
Yeah. With perfection, and that I think
Like he
Mike
doesn't chase
Marquez has a
riders.
second.
I'm saying he doesn't chase riders in practice
Nope.
or qualifying. He does his
Yeah.
own thing.
Yeah. He's on a different level. I think Mark Marquez might be the rider that can catch him. I think Martin, he's a lot more. You notice after he won the sprint, he was a lot calmer than last year.
Yes.
He
I
might be
mean,
he might be
all,
listening to our show. I don't know. He was a lot calmer.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it is race one. Like you can't celebrate too hard anyway. But yeah,
Yeah. Not
I need him to
until
be
not
calm.
yeah.
He's in a good position right now.
Right.
So hopefully we can keep it going because like you don't want to see a rider run away with the points.
Right.
You know, you want as viewers, you want to see a battle
Oh no,
with
I want Pecco to run away with the points.
no, 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 no. We can't have that.
Like, no. I want him to win every race, every time. But you're absolutely right. It when there's a when we don't want one person dominating because as watching it's not the same thing. I think the cool thing is this. I think the thing that Ducati's allowed us to see with having 8 people on their bikes, um, we see the skill set of the riders, right? We when it's bike and machine and it's Honda versus Yamaha type of thing, and there's only 2 bikes, two riders per team type of thing. It's harder to quantify that, right? But when you see it, and then you look, the top 8 riders, 6 of the riders were Ducati. So is it all machine, or is it the riders as well? Because we did have a couple of riders, Bezecchi, who we didn't expect to struggle, Morbidelli, who's struggling. What I'm saying, we can see like, wow, like the talent of these riders. And I'm pretty sure if the whole grid was Ducati, which is, I'm not advocating for that, but I'm just saying, if the whole grid was Ducati, it would probably be like Moto 3.
Yeah. Like anybody can win on the Ducati too.
Right.
So
Exactly.
they're definitely making it exciting. Um, with the top riders pretty much on Ducati, but
It's
um,
it's it's wild to see. It's pretty wild to see, and not a lot of crashes, which was also a really good weekend. We always like when there's no crashes and stuff like that, and so that was really good to see. And yeah, I think at the moment is Ducati KTM Aprilia.
yeah, I mean, until we see race two, I mean, obviously Yamaha and Honda gonna have to step it up, but I see Ducati, and KTM.
Right, and
And
Jack Miller is still strong, so I'll still say there's 3 KTM's that can do really well. I feel bad for Fernandez because he's a second year and he got the way Pedro is running right now. It's kind of similar to when Quartararo came in to MotoGP. You know what I'm saying? And Frankie was supposed to be the main guy and that type of thing. So you know there's going to be a lot of pressure on Fernandez, Augusta Fernandez to deliver. I mean, 16th place is not going to be good enough. He has to get it. He gonna have to. He has to. He could turn into Di Antonio if he's not careful.
sure. And I mean, in Pedro Acosta, you see it in his face. Like that kid is like he wants to learn. Like when they put the camera on the riders, sometimes they look cool,
Yeah,
calm,
yeah, yeah.
collect. Like he looks serious
Oh
every
yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that's just his demeanor everywhere he goes, but like that kid wants to learn, and Raul gonna have to step it up
No, no,
for
yeah,
sure.
Raul as well, but Augusta Fernandez on the tech
That's-
three, but yeah, Raul as well. Speaking of Raul, his bike stalling and him not coming off the grid.
Yeah, maybe that's why I thought of him because I wanted to bring that up.
Oh, their last name's the
Yeah.
same, so
Yeah.
Fernandez, uh,
So yeah, him on the grid and telling the students that he got the bike ready, let's go. I mean, they already made the call, and like he's another one that stalled the situation. And for the GP riders, they did another lap.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm.
One was running on,
I think he should have been penalized for that.
yeah, because that caused time, and they took away a lap for that.
Right.
And
Yeah. Exactly. I think he should have been penalized for that because he should have just came out. Which again, I mean, I think look, and he still pitted early on the second bike, so
oh,
it'd be one thing if he did all that and he finished fairly well, so sponsors are happy. You know what I'm saying, all that stuff. Because I get it, right? When you're out there, you can't, you don't want to just, you know what I'm saying. I don't know if it was his mistake the bike stalled. Well, they had the computer out, so it wasn't his mistake the bike stalled. So it's not on him, but I get it. He did everything for the team. He did all the right things for the team. So maybe the team should be penalized or get a fine for that because it should have been like Moto 3 when the guy just came off and started. In this case, he wouldn't have started, right? The race would have gone on, and if he started, he would have been a couple of laps down,
mm,
that type of thing. So
mm,
I get why he did it, but he should, you know what I'm saying, he should have. There
yeah,
should have been a
that should have
fine.
been.
There should be a fine.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I agree
saying?
with that for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
That was another interesting start to a race because
Oh yeah.
like when you're ready to go and you got your rituals all done, like you got your breathing in, you put your visor down, and the lights about to go off, and you're like, "What the hell is going on?"
Bro, listen,
And
I was
then they,
supposed to go do something, right? And I literally was like, no, 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 no. I'm gonna watch the race, then go, and then there's a delay.
yeah,
I'm just like, yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just me, much less the riders that are waiting, right? Because, it may have cost some riders a little bit. That little
yeah,
bit of weight might have cost some riders some, you know what I'm saying? Just change of perception can change the race. And so yeah, they didn't, who knows how long it's going to be. How do you feel it, how confident are you in the tires are warm enough now because the tire warmers were off and going back on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing a different ride. I would be doing a different ride. I can't speak for anyone else just based on that, because unless you're in a situation where you take tire warmers off, sit for a few minutes, put tire warmers back on, and run out there and see what that's like, and it's not, and they're running to the limits, right? I'm not running to the limits, so I got a better chance of being okay.
yeah, I agree with that. But when the warmers come off, like I'm sure every rider has like a mental clock in their head, like, all right, it's ticking, like we got to get going, you
Well,
know?
y'all no, because they got to get the tires up to temp, right? So there's a few laps that they're getting the tires up to temp, right? So, and that's what I'm saying. It is not, that's why it's possible. I'm not saying, it, you know, it is possible, right? And so, and not everybody put their tire warmers on at the same time. There was some teams still struggle. You know what I'm saying? There's some teams that were
Yeah,
out there right away, and there was other teams that didn't get the tire warmers on at the same time. And I don't know what the time limit is to say, okay, the tire warmers need to be on for 3 minutes to get to temperature, or whatever the case may be, or whatever it is, right? So it's and we've been through that ourselves, or we've been red flag and you got to come back in and you're sitting, and that lap, the second lap, you know what I'm saying, you're taking a little bit easier than if your tire warmers were just off and the race just started in a timely manner.
yeah, they couldn't find generators and stuff like that to plug in,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
some people had the warmers on first, and yeah, it's a mess. But yeah, that's exactly, it's racing. That's another thing you got to consider. Like all these things happen. And it's just like when we come out the track, you gotta hopefully someone's there to help us to throw the warmers on as fast as possible, to get ready. Otherwise,
Right. Oh, well, they're getting
we do it
paid for it,
ourselves.
so
Yeah, they all getting paid for it. But
they don't have to worry about it. But yeah, and so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in Portimao. I know that's a track that Jorge Martin goes well at. Some other riders, Zarco went well there. It'll be interesting,
not to cut you off, but Jorge Martin had a horrible, horrible, horrible accident at Portimao a few years ago, where I think he broke like 9 bones or something like
Oh
that.
yes, yes, yes,
You know?
yes, yes. He did
So
jack
I'm
himself up.
hoping like he can, no flashbacks. He could just ride clean because he's gonna have to push.
Oh
And
yeah,
these
no,
bikes
he's
are faster than they were. So
I think um I think he's gonna have to realize there is no championship being on pole every weekend. There's no championship in that. It helps, but if he's not finished, if he's he can win every sprint and not win the championship.
it won't add up.
It will add up. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it, right? Pecco finished fifth in the sprint and first, and he's first in the championship. He finished first in the sprint and fourth. Oh, third, right? I think he's on the
Right, he
podium.
got a podium.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's on
third.
third in the podium, and he's third place in the championship.
Yeah,
So
it just don't add up.
it don't add up. So and I think for him, and I think Pecco figured out he doesn't need to be the fastest. He doesn't need like the biggest thing is having the pace for the race weekend for the long race. The biggest thing is have and Pecco's consistently had that pace or crashed out for the long race. And I think Martin is going to have to come to terms that like, yo, I don't need to get pole position. Let me make sure I can run this pace on this tire. And like I said, that's what I think that's what Pecco's out there doing. He's just figuring out the pace, and maybe between the data of other riders, he can kind of see where everybody's pace is, and he knows what pace he needs to manage. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just a matter like, look, if he's 2 bike lengths in front of you, he just got to manage that. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta take the risk.
He's really good at managing that. When you say like, all right, you got a 4-second lead, you could turn it down a little bit. Like
Right.
he's really good at managing like a half a second
Exactly.
or
That's what
a
he did
couple
with. That's
tenths.
what he did with Bender. That's what he did with Bender.
And
Bender
then
couldn't get close to him.
and like Martin, he's more of a runaway guy where he wants you to chase him and get worn out. I
Right.
know we talked about some riders that we ride with that do that, but
Right.
and then he ends up burning his tires out
Exactly.
and try
Exactly.
to end up trying to finish to the end,
Right.
blocking or taking good lines, and we've
Right.
seen that
Right. I
the race
think Peck.
last.
Right. I think Pecco does a good job at that. Brad Bender does a good job at that, managing the tires. Zarco does a really good job at managing the tires as well. And yeah, that from what I can tell so far, I think if Mark Marquez probably will do a pretty good job of that, and if Pedro figures out how to manage the tires, he's gonna be dangerous when he figures out how to. We'll see, because he's gonna have to qualify well and manage the tires. So there's 2 parts, and but yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it was amazing to see what he's done, and when he wins the race, I'll change my tune. But it is pretty amazing to see. But he's not the first rookie to come out and do like what he did. Zarco came out and done well. Morbidelli came out and did well. No, Morbidelli was on Honda. I won't give it that. Quattuaro came to Yamaha, and you know what I'm saying. Like, these guys came out and did their thing. So we'll see. But I don't think you still got to beat Pecco. You still got to beat Martin. You still got to beat Mark Marquez. I don't think Alex Marquez is going to back down. You know what I'm saying? Brad Bender is not going anywhere. There are a lot of riders that like, okay, we see you, but these guys are not. You know, you still got to be. He's still gonna have to beat those guys.
Yeah, those guys you mentioned for sure don't back down.
Yeah,
And Jack Miller is another one, but like I said, he's just still trying to find out to how to stay up front. But once he does, that's just another guy
exactly.
who's like,
He's just missing. He's
yeah,
missing.
yeah,
He's missing. It's just a little thing with Jack that he's missing, and it's crazy, and it's crazy because really, he really, and I probably say it every time we talk about Jack Millett, but he, if KTM is a number 2 bike, because at the moment it is a number 2 bike, right? It finished second in both races. You know what I'm saying? He's number 2 in the championship. You know what I'm saying? If if like Jack's gonna have to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Because that bike is really nice, and Jack did to help them get that bike there. He did. You know what I'm saying? That like, they might have been a top 8 bike, and last year, they got them to a top 5, and now they're top 2. You know what I'm saying? And so I really, and I'm sure he wants it more than we want him to, right? For sure. But it's one of those guys that I'm rooting for as well, because it would be nice to see him get some more podiums and some wins.
And a little fun fact, you know how I love Jack Miller. Uh, he posted that he ain't putting no social media posts this year about his racing and stuff like that, because you said he used to manage it.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's a mindset where he's like, all right, I'll put it all together.
Yeah,
All these
yeah.
guys be posting and managing, so it's a little time consuming. So
For sure. Come on, man. You listen, man. You need help. You can't do it by yourself. So hopefully that's the case. I'm looking forward to the next round. I was glued to my seat. Some people got some homework to do, and I think the people that came out. We like I said, we speculated that Pecco was going to do what he did. We figured that Martin was going to be there. We weren't really sure about Marquez. We weren't sure about Acosta. And, DeGen Antonio, like, he's right there. So, I mean, to me, the two that stood out the most is Marquez and Acosta, because, they were in the mix.
and yeah, I mean, we like I said, people expected like a lot more out of Marquez or whatever, but I thought that they were in the mix right where they should be.
Yeah, fifth and fourth place for the first time on a Ducati after being on a Honda for 11 years. You really want the man to win?
Right? Oh, hey, I got a lot of friends that's to talk about just Mark, and I'm just like, all right, come on, calm
Come
down.
on,
All
come
right?
on. Like, yeah. I don't get me wrong. Okay, who do you think would win first? Mark Marquez on a Ducati or Pedro Acosta on a KTM?
Mark.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel the same thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna win in Austin unless he has a mechanical or he crashes out.
I was gonna say the only way Costa finished before him is if Costa had a good run to get on the podium and Mark crashed out.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna lose Austin, and I don't think he's gonna lose in the Saxon ring.
Right. So
Okay,
that is gonna be another great story because
so
he wins those all the time.
and you know what I'm saying. So it's cool to see, man, because for Pecco, he can't relax. You know what I'm saying? Martin, he can't just worry about Pecco. And Bez. I mean, we can't talk about Bez until Bez is up in the mix. DeGen Antonio, he's still there. You know what I'm saying? He still could continue on from last year because he's there and he's crashing out or finishing top 8.
Yeah. I do know Mark has another riding partner to pick on in practice,
Yeah,
Acosta.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
So,
for sure. Yeah, yeah. So
so we see them running around the same time. So
yeah. So it's gonna be. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for Portimao. MotoGP. No complaints. It was a good weekend.
Joan Mir finished.
Joanne Mir finish. Second.
Joan Mir finished.
Yeah, if not crashing out and stuff.
I mean,
Uh,
I think he only finished what 3 Grand Prix last year out of 20 something like
wow.
that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No. I was gonna close out without really talking about the Hondas. I think the skill riders are going to be up front on their bikes.
oh yeah,
You're seeing it with Honda, and you're seeing it with Yamaha. And I mean, you see Rins and what he finished, right behind Quartararo, and he's just debuting. So I don't know if Rins was on a KTM if he would finish where Pedro finished. You know what I'm saying? But it's difficult and for Renz's case, he's been on 3 different manufacturer now. So then just starting out, so that's also different. But Renz also struggled when he first came into MotoGP, where Pedro seems to he's managing it as like LeBron James or Mark Marquez did.
I mean, I think the most important thing also is just get points.
Yeah,
Joan Mir is a champion when he didn't win a first place. He just got points, even though
right.
the race was shortened.
Yeah.
He snuck away with it. So just get points, and then it all add up in the end.
No doubt. No doubt indeed. So, yeah, man. So can't wait for the next round. Shout out your sponsors, and we'll tell the people good night.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next round. I think we got 2 weeks or about a week now.
Right.
Uh, Quarter mile is gonna be interesting. It's a roller coaster racetrack, and that's also the track that Morbidelli got hurt
Right.
on
Yes.
the test. So I'm
Right.
hoping he does well. I'm hoping Martin does well, because when you go down, you get that fear. Like when you get to that corner again, it slows you up just a little bit. Well, at least for me, anyway. But yes, uh, Woodcraft Technologies, Hideaway Rentals, J&G Performance, and Vortex, all for helping me out.
No doubt. Shout out to HY Boston, Hamden Yard. Get your Hamden Yard gear at HY Boston. Workbench Technology. Go to workbenchtech.com. Anything you need IT related, Workbench Tech got you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below if you agree, disagree, or you want us to talk about something else. My name is Rex45.
My name is TJ with Two Wheels and Coffee.
Peace.
Peace.